Hello and welcome back. This is going to be our second example of us trying to solve degree 1 equations, which are also known as linear equations. But first of all, we need to get our 5 steps on the screen. So these are the 5 steps that you need to follow whenever you're trying to solve linear equations. Okay, again, removing fractions, removing parentheses, combining all the like terms, which means that you have all of the variables on one side and you have the constants on the other side. Okay, and then you're basically going to be simplifying the whole equation that is left, and then you're at the end going to be dividing by the coefficient of the variable. Okay, but even though we are always going to follow step 1, then step 2, then step 3, 4, and 5, we are not always going to be implementing step 1 or step 2 or step 3. Okay, the thing is that if we have fractions, we are going to be implementing the first step, okay, which is to remove the fraction. But if you don't have fraction, we just move on to step 2. For example, okay, we are actually going to start off with the example. So even though this equation might look really hard at first, x plus 3 divided by 2 and all of that long stuff which needs to get simplified a whole lot, but the thing is that we're always going to be, all of these equations, no matter how complex they may look, we're just going to follow the 5 steps, and let's see how easy or hard it is to actually get this equation solved and find the value of x. Okay, so we have two fractions over here, 2 and 5, that we need to first of all get rid of, and we can get rid of both of them at the same time. And the way to do this is to first of all get out both of them and start to take the LCM of them. 2 and 5, okay. So we need to get some number that can help us get rid of 2 or 5. So let's first of all get rid of 2. 2 ones are 2, okay. 2 times 1 is equal to 2, so it helps us to get rid of the 2. And now we can get rid of the 5 by having 5 over there, okay. Now we can't actually do anything more with them, so let's take out the LCM, which is going to be the multiplication of the left hand of the numbers on the left hand side, which is 2 and 5 in this case. Okay, so 2 and 5 is just equal to 10. 2 times 5 is equal to 10, and we need to make no, we actually don't need to make anything. We are going to multiply both of these sides with this number, the LCM that we get. Okay, so by doing that, we can help get rid of both of these, as you're going to see right now. 10 times 10 is going to multiply, because it is inside of the brackets, both of these are inside the bracket, they're going to be multiplied individually, which leaves us with this and this. Okay, so I haven't actually solved anything as of yet. So okay, so this part can actually be simplified. Okay, we have 10 on the upper hand side in the numerator and 2 in the bottom hand side. Okay, so you can actually cancel them out. 2 times 5 is equal to 10, right? So you can have that. Okay, so that is what we're left with. 5 times x plus 3 and add it to 10 times 3x. So let's actually remove the upper side. Okay, so we have our simplified equation on the upper hand side. Okay, now to solve the right hand side. 10 is going to multiply on both sides again. Not on both sides, but 10 is going to be multiplied with both of the numbers individually. So we are left with 10 times 4. So this is the first thing that we're going to be multiplying, added to the other thing that we're going to be multiplying. Okay, so 10 times 4 can actually be equal to 40. It is equal to 40, so we can just have 40 over there. And we can actually remove that 5 by having it help us remove that 10. Okay, so 5 times 2 is equal to 10. So we can actually cancel that out because 10 is in the numerator and 5 is in the denominator. So we can do that. This is what we're left with. 2 times 2 is equal to 4. So we are just left with 4x over here. Okay, 40 times x minus 3 plus 4x. So this is what we're left with. So let's actually have that on the upper hand side. Okay, so the second step is to remove all of the parentheses, which are these. We have like 3 of them now. Okay, so let's actually start to solve them one by one. 5 times x and 5 times 3. 5 times x is 5x and 5 times 3 is 15. So this is what we're left with. 10 times 3 is equal to 30, and 30 times x is just equal to 30x. So 30x is what we're left with. 40 is again going to be multiplying individually with both of the numbers. In this case, it's 40 times x and 40 times 3. 40 times x is 40x, and 40 times 3 is 120. Again, the positive and the negative just comes down because we are multiplying a positive 40 with a negative 3. So a positive number and multiplied with a negative number, the answer is a negative number. Then we have both of the numbers up on the screen. Okay, we erase all the other stuff that we don't need. Okay, now we're going to go over to the third step, which is to combine all of the like terms. Okay, which means to combine all of the variables on one side and all of the constants on the other side. Okay, so we need to have all of the variables. Okay, let's have the variables on the left hand side and all the constants on the right hand side. Okay, so we have a 15 that we need to move on the right hand side, and we have 40x and 4x on the right hand side, which we need to move on the left hand side. Okay, so let's first of all get rid of the 15 because it's easy, and it's only 1. Okay, so we can actually help us get rid of the 15 first of all. Okay, so we can do that by subtracting 15 on both sides. Okay, and we can get rid of the 15 on the left hand side, and on the right hand side we are just left with negative 120 and negative 15. Okay, so on the right hand side we're not going to be simplifying just yet. Okay, first of all let's move all of the stuff and then we simplify at the end. Okay, so now we need to move 40x. We need to move 40x over to the left hand side. Okay, so to do that we can subtract negative 40 on both sides. We do that, we can cancel the 40s out, and we are now in a position to just move the last thing, which is 4x. Now again, to move the 4x we need to subtract the 4x on both sides because it's positive, right? So we can cancel the 4x out when we have our 4x on the left hand side. Now we can actually go on to the fourth step, which is to simplify the stuff. Okay, we have all of the x's on the left hand side and all the constants, which are only like 2 constants on the right hand side. Okay, so let's actually do them in these pairs. Okay, so first of all, negative 4x plus 5x, that just gives us a positive x because that is the answer. Okay, so let's move on to the right hand side. No, not on the right hand side, but on the right there. Negative 40x plus 30x, so that leaves us with negative 10x, right? Again, negative 120 and negative 15. That these are, first of all, both of these are negative, so they're both going to add. Negative 120, you have to just think of them as 120 added to 15, and then you just have put the negative on the resultant number. So negative 135, 120 added to 15 is 135, and the negative number stays as it is because it's just addition, and things don't change when we are just doing addition. Okay, so these are the things that we're left with. Just erased all the unnecessary stuff. X minus 10x is equal to negative 135. Okay, so x minus 10x, this is what we're trying to solve right now. Simplifying, negative 9x. Okay, negative 9x, and again we had 135 on negative 135 on the right hand side. We can't do much about it. It is already simplified, so we don't do anything about it. Now on to the final step. The final step is dividing by the coefficient. Okay, in this case that is negative 9, and we can do that by simply having the negative 9 here. Okay, we have the negative 9 and negative 9 being divided on both sides. Nothing has changed in the equation, and we can by doing this we can cancel out negative 9s that are obstructing the x, and we can do that, and we are left with x is equal to negative 135 divided by negative 9. Again, we have 2 negatives over here, so we can actually cancel both of them out, and again we can cancel even the 135 out because 9 times 15 is actually equal to 135. So we have even simplified it even further, and we are left with the positive 15. Again, we have a positive over here because a negative number is being divided by another negative number. Okay, and that results in a positive number. Okay, and that is x is equal to 15, positive 15. Okay, so that is the end of our example. Thank you for watching, and I really hope you learned something.